Thank you and good morning. Champagne results on a beer budget. That's what I delight in helping people achieve. I'm talking about strategies that are no cost or low cost that will absolutely deliver the champagne results. Now I can talk to people here and I talk to people all around the world about all manner of great sales and marketing strategies and tactics that you can employ from online to offline. We can talk about social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Twatter, Schmitter, Schmatter, all that amazing stuff. But we've only got 5 minutes. I mean, be honest too, how many of you still think, Twitter, really? I've just had a cheese sandwich, bing, who cares? It's not about that. And I went from being one of the biggest cynics possibly in terms of social media to being a huge convert. There's a blog post on my website you can go and read called From Cynic to Convert, and all it took was a bikini, a fur hat, and a transit van. You probably need to read the blog post. I won't explain it now. But what I wanted to do with you today is, rather than trying to share all these other strategies and give you all the things I do, I want to try and give you something real, something tangible that you can go away with that will make a difference to your business today, if you'd action it. Something very simple, the no-cost strategy idea. It's something that I shared with a business audience in London just a couple of weeks ago, and I'd like to explain to you just how that went. The people in the room were full of doom, gloom, and despondency. I've got to tell you, it was a day-long conference that had bankers, financiers, and even a couple of MPs thrown in for good balance. Thrown in maybe be the right thing to do with the MPs. But they were fairly low. I'd been brought in to try and lift the mood at the end of the day and give them something uplifting, and boy, did they need uplifting. So I thought, we had an hour, so I spent a lot of time walking through all sorts of great strategies, but the one I wanted to share with them is the one I will share with you now. Is I asked the people in the room just to write down the names of 3 people that they know they should have called by now, but for whatever reason, they hadn't done it. Now, if we had time, I know that all of you could write down the names of at least 3 people that you should have called by now, right? That looks telling me 3. I could do 23, but we should talk on that side. But we all know there are people we should call, but we put it off for whatever reason. And so I spent some time with that group explaining what we could do, why they should call, what happens if they don't, what could be the impact of a good phone call with people, getting back to some basics. Well, I challenged them to go and make those 3 calls and then to call me the next day by 10:30 and let me know how it went. And I was delighted that when I got back into my office the next morning at 8 o'clock, the phone was already ringing off the hook. There were people sharing all sorts of revelations where they'd actually picked up the phone and called people and the results they'd been getting. It was amazing to think how many people there were actually sitting in their own offices aggressively waiting for the phone to ring, when in fact what they realized was that this little phone thing had a dial button where they could dial out as well as wait for stuff to happen. But they found every excuse not to do it. But I'd like to share one particular call that came through to me that morning, bang on the stroke of 10:30. Guys called me up and said, Dave Platt here. I was at your meeting yesterday, and I made my list of 3 people. I've called 3 people, and here I am at 10:30, as requested, to give you a call and give you an update. Now, if I'm honest, he didn't sound overly friendly. But I said, Dave, this is fantastic, so come on, fill me in, spill the beans. How did it go? He said, well, kind of as I expected. First person I called, got the answer machine. I thought, I can see where this is going. It's all going to be my fault. It doesn't work. He said, but the second person I called, they placed an order. I said, well, that's not bad going, Dave. And said, did you keep going or stop there? Did you call the third person? He said, yes, I did. He said, but the third person I called, we had a conversation that went much along the lines that you'd suggested. And within about 10 minutes of a very warm conversation, he too asked if he could place an order. I said, that's absolutely fantastic. He said, yes, but the 2 orders combined came to the equivalent of just around 10,000 rand. Well, it's not my fault for the price of this product that you're selling, but it felt like it was. I said, but you know what, Dave, that's better than a poke in the eye with a blunt stick. He said, I agree. He said, but that's not why I called you. He said, I called you because I've been in business now for 20 years as a printer, and it took you last night to give me a glimpse of the beep, beep, obvious, that I needed to get off my backside and stop blaming everyone else for why business is down and pick up the phone and call people. He said, and as a result, I've got orders. I said, that is fantastic. He said, yes, but that's not why I called you. He said, I did the maths. I got to thinking that if I could do that each day, 5 days of the week, even though I often work 7, that would actually give me somewhere around 50,000 Rand for the week by calling 3 people a day for 5 days. I said, that's fantastic. He said, yeah, but again, that's not why I called you, Steve. I said, well, come on. He said, well, if I had 4 weeks holiday a year, which I don't, I can't remember the last holiday I had, but if I did, I'd still have 48 weeks of the year to pick up the phone and call people. And with that same lowly result, that would give me close on for 2.4 million Rand in extra business. I said, that's fantastic. He said, yes, but that's not why I called you. He said, I'm one of 4. We're only a small company, but I've got 4 people, including myself, in sales. If I can get them all off their backside, simply picking up the phone in amongst all the other stuff you've shared with us, that would amount to 9.6 million Rand a year, and I'm blaming everyone else for why my business is down. He said, I just called to say thank you. Now that's what gets me out of bed in the day. I love sharing really good, high-volume stuff with companies, but sometimes it takes a glimpse of the obvious to get you to get some results that you really deserve. So if during the break, if you're not out there making your 3 phone calls, come and talk to me. I'd love to have a conversation about what I could do with you and your clients. Thank you very much.